What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. For all things Dodger baseball, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation questions of the day. 1. Do you think the MLB's crackdown on foreign substances is going to help or hurt the Dodgers? And 2. Do you think that Trevor Bauer is worth $40 million per year without using sticky stuff? Do you think the Dodgers will regret signing Trevor Bauer? I want your takes down below in the comment section. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So just this morning, Major League Baseball issued a memo to all 30 teams with how they're going to enforce the rules on foreign substances. The MLB crackdown is happening, and we've got the key takeaways from that memo. The first one being a 10-game suspension for players caught using foreign substances and an immediate ejection from that game. The memo reads, violators are subject to ejection and decisions are not subject to replay review. Players who refuse to cooperate with an inspection will be presumed to be in violation of the rules and subsequently ejected and suspended. Club employees who assist players in using or masking foreign substances or who refuse to cooperate or who fail to report violations will be subject to fines and suspension. It would go on to say, although the foreign substance prohibitions do not apply exclusively to pitchers, the pitcher ultimately will be responsible for any ball that is delivered with a foreign substance on it. If a player other than the pitcher is found to have applied a foreign substance to the baseball, e.g. the catcher applies a foreign substance to the baseball before throwing it back to the pitcher, both the position player and player will be ejected and automatically suspended. Clubs may not replace on the roster a player who is suspended for any on-field violation. So that is an interesting detail because it's not just the pitchers who apply these foreign substances to these baseballs. Sometimes it's the catcher, and the catcher will also be suspended. And if you refuse to get inspected, you're automatically ejected. Now, the umpires will be expected to check for foreign substances multiple times throughout the game. Now, I think this is going to be a little scary for some pitchers because this means everything from mixing sunscreen and rosin to using pine tar to using spider tack. It's everything. No grip on the baseball. How will these guys adjust mid-season like this? I think that's a lot to ask if you're Major League Baseball. I think you're going to see some pitchers really struggle if they truly enforce this like they say they are. And I do think they will. Now, the question is it already having an impact on offenses, on spin rate, even before they officially start enforcing it? Have pitchers been scared straight? Well, following an owners meeting on June 3rd where they made it known that they were going to start enforcing and start cracking down on foreign substances, you've already seen a decline in fastball spin rates. The fastball spin rate was averaging 2306 to 2329 RPMs from the start of the season through June 5th. That's according to MLB StatCast data. But after front offices and players have been made aware of the crackdown around the league, you've already started to see a decline in spin rates. Fastball RPMs dropped to 2,282 RPMs during the week of June 6th and dropped to 2,226 this past Sunday. So with just the news of the impending crackdown, we've seen spin rates go down. Now, if you're wondering, what does an increased spin rate do for a pitcher? Why does it give them an advantage? Well, one, for starters, the better grip you have on the baseball, the better command you have of the baseball, the less mistakes you're going to make, the more strikes you're going to throw. And then two, the more it spins, the more you're going to get a perceived rise. The less the ball is going to go down. You're going to get some filthy, unnatural movement on it. And bottom line is you're going to miss more bats the more it's spinning. So to me, if you're going to allow the pitchers to use spider tack, you might as well allow the hitters to use fungo bats or aluminum bats or cork bats because it is an advantage for the pitcher. Now the question is, how have the hitters fared since the announcement of the crackdown? Well, if you look at MLB averages through April, it was at 232. That was 20 points lower than it was in 2019 when the league-wide batting average was at 252. And then in May, the batting average went up 4 points to 236. Now, keep in mind, the lowest ever was 237 that was set in 1968, the year of the pitcher. What did they do that year? They ended up lowering the mound because the offense was so bad. So the average rose to 247 in the week of June 6th. That lifted the season average to 238. And then if you look at that strikeout percentage, since June 3rd, it's been at 23.4%, down from 24.2%. And the league-wide walk percentage is at 8.4%, down from 8.9%. So if you look at those numbers, those early returns, you're seeing a minimal difference. We're talking about like a hit every 100 at-bats. But in my opinion, I think you have some of these pitchers that are weaning themselves off of these foreign substances. I think it's gone from spider tack down to pine tar. Maybe they'll go from sunscreen and rosin, and until eventually they have these crackdowns and they'll start throwing with nothing. You've heard stories of pitchers having bullpen sessions on the side to try to reacclimate to pitching without foreign substances. So I think it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be a tall task for some of these pitchers to adjust because they're so used to pitching with these foreign substances. And I think you'll start to see the offenses continue to go up. I think you'll start to see more of a balanced playing field. But to me, it really falls on Major League Baseball at this point. It's a little ridiculous what they're attempting to do in the middle of a season, but I do think it did have to be done. You got to maintain the integrity of the game. And bottom line, that's just a bad product. That is a bad product to go to a ballpark and see teams hit just 232. That is not fun. You're seeing no action. You're seeing just home runs and strikeouts, and that is only going to hurt Major League Baseball. If you let the pitchers use the sticky, the game gets icky, and I think baseball is doing the right thing. There's really no right way to do this at this point because they're so late to enforce this. Now, the right thing to do would have been to get on top of this years ago, but that is what baseball does. They're always late to the party. You saw what happened in the steroid era. They like to just sit and watch and go ooh and ah and think that it's helping things out. We're seeing 600-foot home runs on a nightly basis. You saw what happened with Sosa and McGuire. So baseball always likes to turn a blind eye when they think they're benefiting from it, but now they know it's starting to hurt them, and then all of a sudden they want to get the sticky stuff out of the game. Now, when it comes to Trevor Bauer, he's been the spin doctor over the last few seasons. His spin rate has gone through the roof, and he's seeing significant declines in spin rate. His last start on his four-seam fastball, that spin rate was down 206 RPMs. On the cutter, it was down 134 RPMs. On the sinker, it was down 159 RPMs. On the slider, 102. And on the changeup, 105. And then the man of the Bauer himself, Trevor Bauer, responded to MLB's memo, and as you would expect, he came in hot. He tweeted, "Only one of the massive problems with what MLB is doing. They've knowingly swept this under the rug for 4 years. Now they implement a knee-jerk reaction to shifting public perception. Hard to hear them talk about competitive integrity when they have no integrity to begin with. To be clear, the memo is fine long-term, and it will serve to level the playing field. That is a good thing. But to implement it mid-season when for 3 months you promised players and teams that nothing about your chosen enforcement of the rules would change this year and actively encourage players to continue playing how they have in the past, that's a lie. There's no integrity in that, so save it with the competitive integrity bullshit. All you care about is the bottom line of the business and public perception negatively affecting it." He would go on to say, "While we're at MLB, please tell us how umpires who have never been trained to know what a sticky substance is or isn't are supposed to automatically enforce that uniformly. What is the standard for what is sticky and what's not? Might want to clarify that, for the competitive integrity of the game. It would be really unfair to have one crew think sticky is one thing and another crew to think sticky is another thing. Rules are supposed to be uniformly enforced, right? Almost like you should have used an off-season to define that." So while I do agree with Trevor Bauer, this is not great timing, and that MLB should take a lot of this blame for not doing it in the off-season, bottom line, they can do what they want, and they will if they think that it's hurting their game. And if you're these pitchers, if they had just used sunscreen and rosin, if they had just used pine tar, we probably wouldn't have gotten to this point, but it's the spider tact. It's all this crazy stuff that they've been concocting behind the scenes that has led to this, so they have really no one to blame but themselves. But we do need a universal grip, and for Major League Baseball to just go cold turkey like this, I think could have a negative effect on the game, and we'll see how it plays out. But Trevor Bauer makes another great point about the umpires. The umps are having a hard enough time as it is calling balls and strikes, so to add another responsibility like this on their plate, I think could turn out poorly as So I think when it comes to Trevor Bauer, this guy knows how to pitch. This guy has a repertoire of pitches that he can get outs with, and I think you'll start to see more of the 2018 Trevor Bauer, where he's not just trying to dominate guys with that four-seam fastball and be a dominating miss-bass type of pitcher. I think you'll see him become a more crafty pitcher, and I still think that he was the right signing for the Dodgers because, one, the Dodgers needed another quality starter. Two, they print money. And three, he's not going to get in the way of any future signing. So So yeah, is Trevor Bauer going to have a microscope on him during this crackdown? Absolutely his. And the reason for that is he's had the biggest increase in spin rate. That spin rate was at 2410 RPMs in 2019. That jumped up to 2779 in 2020. So he's had such a big increase that he's one of the guys that you look at. He's also a big name. He also has a big social media footprint, but that doesn't mean he's any more guilty of using foreign substances than any other pitcher around the league. Because I got news for you. Your favorite pitcher probably uses foreign substances, and that's just the reality. My job here is to bring the facts to the fight here and just keep it real with you guys, but I still think that Trevor Bauer was the right move. I still think that he's going to adjust and be a quality starter for the Dodgers. Is he worth $40 million? To the Dodgers, he might be, because they had to overpay to get another guy in there. And just imagine what this rotation would look like if they didn't have Trevor Bauer. Just look at Tony Gonsolin, still trying to get back in the mix and trying to be a quality starter. He's making improvements, but he's not quite there yet. And then, of course, you had the injury to Dustin May. So I'm still a fan of the move because they signed a player without having to give up anyone. They didn't have to make a trade and give up some prospects to get another frontline starter. So I think that Trevor Bauer, this guy's a workhorse. He's a mad scientist. He'll get in the lab and find out how to optimize all of his skills, and I still think it was the right move for the Dodgers. I don't think they'll have Bauer's remorse, but let me know down below in the comments. Was this the right thing to do by Major League Baseball? Did they botch this whole crackdown? And two, do you think that Trevor Bauer was worth $40 million now? Let me know down below in the comments section. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. For the latest Dodgers Nation merch, head over to gearup.la. Some of the best Dodgers t-shirt designs in the game right over there at www.gearup.la. For the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.